What is going on, Movie Meals? Movie Meals! Happy New Year! Let's go!
Let's go.
Thank you, Movie Meal patrons. Kimberly and Karen, go get some merch, all that good stuff. Help us get to 2,000, the bit that never dies.
Bit that never dies.
Thank you, patrons. Yep. And go check out our top 10 of 2024, baby. Go check out our top 5 most anticipated of 2025, baby. Go do
Please
that.
do.
Please
Please
do.
do.
We're
They were fun
here.
videos.
They were fun. It's always, I literally think it's my favorite video we make.
Yeah.
But we're here to talk some Oscars. The Oscars come up here. But first, if you're in LA, stay safe.
Yeah.
It's Armageddon out there.
Yeah, Jesus. It's crazy.
It's crazy. Like, I'm all the way across the country on the East Coast, and we've had snow, and it's cold, and then the other side of the country is, like, on fire. If you've seen One Piece, it's literally Punk Hazard is what it is.
Yeah, I can't even imagine, like, how people are, having to deal with that. It's terrible. Yeah, so hopefully those in LA
Everybody's
are safe out there. Like, it's not just... I think there's this misconception with LA and that it's just about celebrities and they're all rich anyway, and if something affects them, they can just buy a new house or whatever. But there's real people still living there outside the celebrity life. Yeah, who have to start lower than square one, unfortunately, by these fires. So, maybe we'll find some links for like donation stuff and put them in our description down below. I think that'd be a good thing to do. Just to, try to help out as much as we can, because, LA, like a lot of people aren't celebrities, but they do work for like the movie industry, and between the strikes and now with the fires, there could be repercussions as a result from this. We just don't know yet, and that's not what's important right now, but there's a lot of people that are struggling right now out there.
There's a lot. That's the deadliest wildfires in California's history now, I believe. And they're, last I checked, 0% contained and being amped up by a hurricane nearby. That's crazy.
Yeah, it's just awful stuff.
Yeah. Stay safe. Like, I think about all the like YouTubers and stuff we used to watch back in the day, and I know I watch less of than you, but still check in every now and then, and like all those guys and and gals and whatnot. So stay safe out there. But yeah, well, in a weird transition, I guess. Moving on, we just wanted to say that off the bat. We're going to talk first about the Golden Globes. All right.
Oh, there you are.
Well, this is the second recording, so there'll be 2 now. So,
yeah, you can just cut it. That's fine.
Yeah. Well, yeah, so the Golden Globes happened. The SAG nominations have come out. I got to pull all that stuff up. Golden Globe winners.
I got it for me as well. Actually, now with the fires happening, I believe the Oscar nomination announcements did get pushed back from the 17th, so maybe that should be...
Did they really?
I thought that's what I heard, so I need to double check on that. Oscar nominations, because that would make sense, because it probably wouldn't be like the right time considering things aren't really good right now. Probably would be in poor taste, I suppose.
Yeah. I don't know.
They were supposed to be on the 17th, but I'm trying to see.
Well, while you're looking that up, have any other, like, have the Writers Guild nominations come out or any of those? You know what I mean? Like, is it just the SAGs that has come out?
I've only heard about SAGs and Golden. I actually haven't been keeping track of all the other ones. I know Indie Spirit hasn't been done yet. Like, that's always later in the year, it feels like.
It doesn't look like the Writers Guild is out. So we'll just kind of focus, I guess, on the SAG here nominations and the Golden Globes. People, it's kind of crazy. Our circle of friends all of a sudden really care about the Golden Globes, and they're watching it, and they're doing this stuff. I've been trying to get people just to watch the Oscars, the one that matters, for like 4 years. I'm like, is it just going to be me and my mom making a bet here? Come on. Even Kyle wasn't watching it. And then a bunch of people were like, are you watching the Golden Globes? And I was like, no. The Golden Globes, okay, I was actually looking up some research about it. So the Golden Globes, before COVID and the big movements that they had of trying to be more inclusive, was 12 writers who don't even live in America. It's the Hollywood Foreign Press.
Hmm.
So it was people that are not here, and it was just writers. They're critics. They're not in the industry, right? That's what makes the Oscars so valuable. It's the people in the industry. It's 9,000 something people in
Yeah.
the industry. It's actors and writers and the people who are editors and all these things, cinematographers. I was doing research, and it looks like the Golden Globes has hired more, and they are now up.
Yeah.
I think it said to 90 voters. Maybe it was in
Hmm.
the hundreds. Now I got to double check.
Yeah. Double check on that. But you are right that they have expanded. There was some. I think there was just some questionable stuff, some shady stuff going on with the Golden Globes over the years. I think they were finally being
It
called
was
out
12
for.
white guys, old white guys is what it was. Yeah,
Gotcha. Yeah.
that
I
was
also,
voting for it.
if I remember right, I thought they were finally being called out for being bought out as well when it came to the votes. Maybe that part's
Oh,
not true,
definitely. I believe
but
that.
for Golden Globes, that probably was the case. Like,
They're now up to 300% or 300%, 300 in entertainment journalists from around the world. The voting body, according to Google, is 47% female and 60% racially and ethically diverse.
mm,
Um, they have people based all over the world, including some in America. So it's the US, Europe, Africa, and South Africa. So, I mean, the Golden Globes are what they've always been. Okay, it's a show. It's a show.
mhm,
It's their goal is to be funny, and I mean, the only thing I've ever checked out usually is the monologue and the bits because they do tend to be a little bit looser. I mean, Ricky Gervais has just obliterated them. Nikki Glazer had some great bits. She made some Diddy jokes that I did not think she would make, and they were very, very funny to me. Some people in Hollywood were like, "Oh," and it was like,
sure.
"Have you been to the party?" Like it's the Globes are always supposed to be a little more loosey goosey, and that means the award is usually loosey goosey. Their categories are weird.
Mm,
Um, so let's just run down some of these real quick. So, best motion picture drama, because they split it up. The nominees were Complete Unknown, Conclave, Doom Part 2, Nickel Boys, The September 5, and The Brutalist, the winner being The Brutalist.
mhm.
I think all those are all in the running for Best Picture. I think September 5 is probably the weakest of this group, and I haven't seen it, but I just from what I've seen about like what might get nominated, you know what I mean?
Mhm.
I think that would be one that could kind of sneak out, but I think to me this makes sense. Brutalist is a powerhouse movie. I could see this sweeping at the Oscars, but hey, they got
I
one
mean,
right.
yeah, I mean, I'll just go based off your experience with seeing the movie. I've yet to be able to check it out, but just from everything that I hear, it's just one of those films that is incredible with what little budget can be made into something really special by the sounds of it. Um, Dune Part 2, I think general audiences are happy to see that one get in, I would imagine, but um, I don't think it's going to be a big player when it comes to the Oscars, unfortunately. How do you feel about that?
I think Dune Part 2 has a big chance to sneak in. I think it'll still be in a lot of technical awards, and I do
Right.
think a Best Picture nom is very likely. I don't think it's out of the realm of possibility at all. I think it's
Mm-hmm.
got a better shot than a movie like September 5. Granted, I still haven't seen September 5, but like
But who
even
has?
even in terms of buzz, like just having Zendaya on the red carpet to talk about challengers, she's also
Hmm.
she promoted that a bunch. They were talking at the Golden Globes, Doom Part 2 and challengers. So
Right.
I think Dune has a real opportunity to still sneak in. I don't think it'll necessarily win a bunch of major awards, but I think it will definitely win some of the technical awards.
Yeah, I'm there with you in terms of those major ones that people know the most about, like Best Picture, the Best Actor categories. I think Dune 2 will be able to get that Best Picture nomination, but a win, I think most general audiences just know of that one and would want to see it win, but I don't think it's going to get past like a nomination. And it's a shame that for the other major ones that it may have a hard time getting in. I mean, obviously, we know that some of the acting categories couldn't happen, like Best Actor, Best Actress. I know for myself, I would have loved to see Austin Butler get Best Supporting Actor because I do think he could be worthy of that nomination. He was great for his limited screen time. He makes like a pop in that movie. But
Oh, he's so good.
Even Best Director, I got to be honest, I'm a little concerned about that one. I'm not sure if Villeneuve's going to get in,
Yeah, he might not.
which is
Um,
crazy to me. I think he is arguably worthy of that
Oh,
nomination alone.
it's a snub if he doesn't get in for best
Yeah,
director. It's an absolute snub. But we'll get to directors.
yeah. Let's
Let's
keep
move
going
on to
then.
best motion picture, musical or comedy. A Real Pain, Anora, Challengers, Emily Perez, The Substance, and Wicked. The Substance nominated for
Yeah.
best musical or comedy.
Mm,
You know, there was a few times I laughed, but I wasn't laughing a lot through The Substance.
mm,
This is why the Golden Globes are whack. That makes no
yeah.
sense why that's in there. Challengers is a drama. There are a lot of funny bits in Challengers, but it is not a comedy by any. I would not even refer to Challengers as a dramedy. It has no business being here. Anora does. I think Anora being in here makes sense. Anora is very funny, and I think intentionally funny and trying to be funny. I think it is a dramedy, but Challengers and The Substance, you're putting a horror thriller in musical or comedy? What are we doing here? This is why the Golden Globes stink. And the winner went to Emily Perez, and that definitely didn't annoy everyone on the internet. Apparently, I still haven't seen it. My interest has dipped so much hearing that apparently it's not good. I've had this idea in my head that it was really good, and
Mm.
that it was just overall really solid. And I'm hearing people are even upset that Zoe won the Golden Globe. So that's kind of
People
crazy.
people being upset by Zoe is a bit of a surprise, but I guess that could be because of her association with the movie and not just because of the movie itself. Amelia Perez, I'm starting to understand more of the hatred towards that movie. I've been reading between uh, Mexican critics and some trans critics as well about like the problematic stuff within the movie, about how it doesn't seem like it's really caring that much about uh, the people of Mexico, or really caring about how to depict trans characters in a light that isn't basic, I guess, or is stereotypical, I suppose, which are things that obviously, like, as me who is in neither of those categories or being categorized as such, I just wasn't really privy to notice that. But upon reading what those critics had to say, I understand it a lot more. Granted, I do think the movie does have some good moments of like cinematography and of some good musical numbers. Half of them are good, half of them are not so good in terms of like what they're trying to do, but I think in terms of like how they're shot are pretty good. So Amelia Perez is a mixed bag, but personally I wouldn't say that it's really worthy of awards, but I think uh,
Other than maybe Zoe.
other than maybe Zoe, exactly. That being said, it does seem like the industry is very different about that movie, and I could see it being the movie that gets possibly the most nominations. I'm not saying the most wins, but nomination wise, I don't know. It's kind of trending that
I
way.
don't know. Maybe in the major awards it kind of sneaks in, but I don't see Emily Perez. I mean, I haven't seen it, but do you think it's going to get editing and sound and all these technical awards too? Where like a
Mm,
Dune that is a bigger budget could sneak in and kind of steal a lot of those?
you make a good point about that. I guess I don't know, editing could be possible. Sound could be
Hmm,
possible.
I guess we'll find out.
Yeah,
Um,
for sure. But what
out
about
of
the
all
rest of these?
these out of all these movies, I think all of them are probably other. I mean, Emily Perez, I can't really speak on. A Real Pain, I've been dying to see. It finally will hit like because it's only available to buy right now on streaming, and I don't feel like buying it. So I think on the 16th or something, it's going to come out to stream finally. So I'm
Oh,
gonna
okay.
check that out right away because we'll get to the actor noms, but it's sounding like there's a lot of support behind Culkin to get an Oscar here, and that makes me really excited. But I think all of these are going to be Oscar contenders, especially The Substance, which I think has gotten enough push by the Golden Globes, which the Golden Globes do help in terms of pushing a narrative in the media, which might
Mm.
be why Emily Perez is doing so well because maybe they've lobbied a bit. But I think The Substance has a real shot to be here. I think all of these are contenders all the way. I think it's kind of surprising that Wicked didn't kind of dominate the Golden Globes. I feel like the Golden Globes is the place you would see a Wicked dominate,
That did
but
shock me too.
feels like
That did.
Wicked's lost some steam.
Yeah, which surprised me. Although I could see like it's one big nomination being Best Picture still. I don't think that's
Yeah, it
out
still
of the
might be in
realm.
contention for some acting nominations, though. I think
Best
Wicked
Supporting
still has a real
Actress.
chance.
I think Supporting Actress would be the one for Ariana Grande.
I think both
Yeah,
of them will. I would be shocked if only one. I think both of them will get a nom.
both of them will. Ooh,
And
okay, that'll be interesting.
I think putting Ariana in Best Supporting is wrong. I think she's a lead. I think they're
Sure,
co-leads.
co-leads. I think that's fair.
I think they're definitely co-leads. But should we move on here?
Yeah, we'll talk more about all these other movies anyway down below. So let's keep going.
Best Motion Picture Animated: Flow, Inside Out 2, Memoir of a Snail, Moana 2, The Wild Robot, Wallace and Gromit, Vengeance Most Foul. The fact that you put Moana 2 in here, not Sonic 3, is an absolute travesty. I've been dying to see Flow. I have heard about Flow for months, and I am
Same.
dying to see it. Memoir of a Snail's been on my list for a while, too. So I'm going to try to check that out before the Oscars because I'm assuming it's going to be a contender. Hopefully the Oscars correct themselves and understand that Sonic 3 belongs in the top here. But you got any thoughts, or should we move on?
It did surprise. Well, actually, I'm gonna rephrase that because it didn't surprise me. I think Flo and the Wild Robot are like the two gunning for animation this year. I'm not sure
Yeah.
how much stock to take for Golden Globe wins compared to Oscar wins, but I have heard amazing things about Flo. Wild Robot does have incredible animation in it for sure. Probably the strongest of the year outside of Inside Out 2 from what I've seen.
Inside Out 2 is really good, though. I think
Yeah.
it could be a dark horse.
Yeah, I just was shocked that the Globes itself didn't go for Wild Robot. Kind of like in the same way that it's shocking that Wicked didn't get more wins during the Golden Globes. But
I agree.
I've heard great things about Flow, so there must be something to it.
Yeah, no, I really want to see it. Best Motion Picture Non-English Language. We All Imagine as Light, Emily Perez, I'm Still Here, The Girl with the Needle, The Seed of the Sacred Fig, and
Vermiglio?
Vermiglio. We apologize for anything. I'm Still Here is a movie that I had kind of heard about over the last few months, and as every day goes by, I hear more people be like, "Oh my god, I can't believe it. Like I'm still here. This movie's amazing. Oh my gosh, I'm still here." So it is shot up to the top of my list. Emily Perez, if it keeps this momentum, this would probably be where I think it gets its only win, possibly in terms of major awards. Is it
Yeah.
mostly? It's almost. I would wager that 90% foreign language in Spanish, right? Or even
Yeah.
more, or
Yeah,
less.
80%, I guess.
80%. Okay, interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah. Any thoughts, or should we move on?
If Amelia Perez, well, it's gonna get nominated for like Oscars, foreign language film category, but if it wins, like here, considering all the strong words I've heard about All We Imagine is Light, I'm Still Here, Seed of the Sacred Fig, if that one wins over those, that's gonna be very anger and possibly not age well. Although that's just me from what I've heard and read about these other movies. I haven't been able to check them out. But just based off of vibes, like I said about Amelia Perez, could get like the most nominations, and if this is the one win, it won't be considered very good of a win by the general public. But I don't know if the voters really care about the general public, but that's just my 2 cents about it.
Best performance by a female actor in a motion picture or drama. Angelina Jolie for Maria, Fernanda Torres for I'm Still Here, Kate Winslet for Lee, Nicole Kidman, Baby Girl, Pamela Anderson, The Last Showgirl, and Tilda Swinton, The Room Next Door. See, this is why the Globes are so interesting, because most of the people I think that are actually contending for the Oscar, half of them are in the other category.
Yeah.
And so, like, I've heard good things about Baby Girl. I've heard good things about The Last Showgirl. Haven't seen him. And I've heard these performances are great, but there's not much momentum, it seems like, behind them to get a nom. But they get one here because it gets Kate Winslet in the room. It gets Nicole Kidman in the room, and who brings her celebrity husband. It gets Pamela Anderson in the room. This went to I'm Still Here. And again, shot up my list. I'm like, I got to check this movie out. I mean, is she going to be a contender for the Oscar? I need to find out if Mickey has some competition in my mind, because I freaking love her and Nora, and I think she's losing steam, and it makes me sad. Anyway, thoughts?
Pamela Anderson, I like that people are giving her some credit for The Last Showgirl. The Last Showgirl as a movie, I think is fine, is
Oh, you saw it?
good-ish. I have seen it.
Oh,
Pamela
classic
Anderson,
style.
it is her strongest role. I just don't think it's that of like Oscar nomination, so I don't see that happening for her. But like, it is terrific to see her like getting this light shine on her and giving her some credit for what she's gone through the industry and having like a strong performance such as this one here. Um, Angelina Jolie, Al, I know that you've seen this.
I
Do
have
you
seen Maria.
for Maria? Do you think she has a chance to get in, or do you not see?
I think she could definitely get nominated for the Oscar. I don't think she'll
Okay.
win, but I think she could definitely get it. This movie reminds me so much of Natalie Portman and Jackie when it was
Mhm.
just kind of quietly there and the movie
Mhm.
was okay, but it was a really powerful performance where the main female lead is pretty much everything about the movie. It reminds me of Spencer with Kristen Stewart, where that year it came out and it was just like, man, the movie is okay, but she is just a force. Angelina Jolie is very good in the movie,
It's the
but
same director of those two movies, so that's really funny.
is it actually?
It is. It is
That
actually.
makes an absurd amount of sense then, because
He
that's the
makes.
vibe it gives me. He just
Yeah.
gives powerful women great roles in okay movies. I think she definitely could get that. That's wild. I didn't even think to check.
That's
Uh,
incredible. Yeah.
yeah, I
No,
think she could
he found
definitely
his
sneak in.
lane.
Yeah, apparently. She did all her own singing. I know she talked on the Actress Roundtable that somebody in
Right.
Hollywood told her she could never sing, so never try. And this
Mhm.
role meant a lot to her to play the Maria. Her singing was incredible. The movie's slow, but I thought it was a fine movie with a great performance. She could definitely sneak in here. I think.
Okay.
I think she is a serious contender for a nom. I don't think it's like kind of like Nicole Kidman here.
Gotcha.
I think it's
Gotcha.
strong, which is part of the reason why with these nominations that I'm still here has shot up so much because I'm so curious about this performance because is this kind of a foreign movie that kind of sneaks in that hasn't been at least on my radar very much here. I've heard about it, but
Yeah, it always seems like there's one of those, whether it's like director of a foreign film or an actor actress in a foreign film that always somehow sneaks into those bigger categories and no one sees it coming. That's why I kind of think, and I'll see how well this ages in the next week, but Fernanda Torres, I think she will get a nomination. I think
I
that'll
think it's
happen.
very possible after this Globes. I think this is momentum that she does need, and I believe she got a SAG nomination as well, didn't she? She did
Uh,
not. She did not.
that's a little interesting, but I'll stand
That
by my
is
prediction there.
interesting. I think she does have a chance, but we got to see this film. But
But okay, if there was, you know what? Should we? Should I ask this question now? I'll ask this question now. If there's a fifth spot left and it's between Torres and Jolie, who do you think is going to get in?
well, I haven't seen the other movies, so I'm not really sure.
Just based off vibes. Because vibes for me, I haven't seen either of these movies. I think Torres is going to get that fifth spot.
I think the feeling that Torres could get it because of the last few years, there's been kind of a trend of foreign movies that are not super popular in the States, but popular with the film crowd, where an actor and actress is really dominant. I mean, last year,
Yeah, the
I think
voting body
showed
has
that.
grown. Yeah.
What was the movie last year? That's just incredible with the dog scene. You know what is with the dog was at the Oscars. Come
Oh,
on,
Anatomy of a Fall.
Anatomy
Yeah,
of a
yeah,
Fall. Like I think a performance from like Sandra
Hewler. Yeah.
Hewler. Yeah, that I think something like that could be possible, but you never know. Angelina Jolie is really good. It honestly reminded me like I was like, dang, I forgot how good Angelina Jolie can be.
Yeah,
because she doesn't do much acting anymore. She's been directing.
Yeah, exactly.
Let's move on to these men, though. Ugh, disgusting.
Ugh. No, that's yeah. Ugh.
Best performance by a male actor in a motion picture drama: Adrian Brody, The Brutalist; Coleman Domingo for Sing Sing; Daniel Craig for Queer; Ray Fiennes for Conclave; Sebastian Stan for The Apprentice; and Timothée Chalamet for A Complete Unknown. I think all of these men are competing for the Academy Award. I think it's possible that they all get in here. From what I've heard from Sing Sing, if he doesn't get in, it's going to be a problem. And I'm so excited to see it. It should be re-releasing again in theaters throughout the country next week, and it's my goal to run to go see it. So
You
I
and
think
me
all these
both.
guys could be competing. I would think Sebastian Stan and Daniel Craig are the two kind of ones that you could swap when we get to the actors in musical comedy and and everything else. But
Mm-hmm.
yeah, I think all these are possible. And Adrian Brody won, and I think that would make a lot of sense. He's really good in Conclave. It's a long movie, and the only reason I don't really check my watch all the time is because of his performance. His performance is very, very strong.
Adrian's in The Brutalist. Right. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
Uh,
Thoughts?
for me, I think everyone but Sebastian Stan will be nominated. I think this is pretty locked up. Sebastian
You think get
Stan,
Sebastian out of there? Those are your 5
yeah,
Academy Award
yeah,
winners. Well, let's see how it compares. That is exactly what the SAG is. It's Adrian Brody, Timothy Chalamet, Daniel Craig, Coleman Domingo, and Ray Fiennes.
I had no
So
idea. Yeah,
I think that could be real possible. Although I stand by it. Timothy's great as Bob Dylan. He's better in Dune. Dune should be the one he's nominated for. It's just a plain
yeah,
old fact.
yeah.
But anyway, sorry. Continue.
Oh, yeah, just with Sebastian Stan, he gives what I heard a very good performance in The Apprentice. I've seen him in A Different Man. I'm glad that he did get that win in the Golden Globes for it, but we'll talk about that more later. But I think just between him having 2 separate movies and both of them not really getting enough recognition by the vibes of it all, that I just feel like he'll cancel out and just not get in. Meanwhile, the other guys have more cases to be made, whether they're very strong performances or such as with like Daniel Craig, this would be his first Oscar nomination,
Ooh,
I
cool.
believe. So there's just more reason for those guys, for the voters, as compared to Sebastian Stan. I think Sebastian Stan is just harder to choose. So that's just my thought.
Let's move on here to Best Performance by a Female Actor in a Motion Picture, Musical, or Comedy. Amy Adams for Night, can't say the other word. We're a family-friendly show.
Mm-hmm.
Cynthia, how do you say her last name? Do you know?
Arrivo?
Arrivo from
I think so.
Wicked. Demi Moore, The Substance. Carla Sofia Gasson from Emily Perez. Apologize for butchering names. Mickey Madsen for Honora, and Zendaya for Challengers. Again, Zendaya doesn't belong here. In this weird made-up category. Demi Moore won. That's a big deal, I think. I think there is some serious momentum for Demi Moore to get a nomination for the Oscars. She was nominated, I believe, for the SAG. She was. And if she wins the SAG, look, I still to this day think Mickey is the best performance by an actress so far. I think she is. I think she should be the lead. I think she's lost momentum to be the lead in terms of the award races. That could change when some of these come out. But if Demi Moore won over Mickey, I would be happy. Happy as a clam, because the substance is so good. Her performance is so good. It'd be really cool to see a horror movie win something again. And I would be okay with it. Now, if it went to somebody else, I would not be okay with it. To me, those are the top 2 performances by ladies out here these days. You know what I mean?
Sure.
What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I feel more comfortable in Demi Moore getting an Oscar nomination. I am happy to see something like The Substance actually getting some awards.
Amen.
Love, because we've seen so many times in the past 10 years that horror movies, no matter how good they are, they just have a hard time getting in. Now, granted, we could still say that because Nosferatu, I think, is going to have a really hard time getting a lot of Oscar nominations. Yeah, for sure.
Crazy. That movie's so good.
Yeah, so in a way, there's kind of a double standard still happening, but at least The Substance is a terrific movie, and especially for Demi Moore, the performance is terrific. That being said, now that I see her as more of a lock, it wouldn't shock me if she does get the win. As great as I think Mickey Madsen's performance is, I think Demi Moore just has like the legacy aspect of her career too, and people not only want to see her, get the nomination, but a win could also be what they want to see.
It could be one of those years. It could be a Leo year,
and we
where
see that
they
happen
feel
a lot.
it's weak, and they're like, "Hey, we have this actress who's never won.
Yeah,
let's put in a performance unlike any other." And
Mm-hmm.
even though maybe arguably it's not the best, let's give it to her. And I would be okay with it. The Substance is an absolute banger. Nosferatu, though, man, I would love to see Lily get a nom somewhere.
Yeah.
She's not. Nosferatu's been all but forgotten, but it's so good.
One thing that I do want to add on, Amy Adams is nominated in here, but I think even for how much of a nomination magnet Amy Adams tends to be, I don't think it's happening for this movie. She's obviously out of the
I've
running.
heard this movie. I've heard her movie is not good. I've heard some things. I don't know what's happened to her. I thought she is talented enough to be the next Meryl Streep. Amy Adams is that freaking good, and for some reason, the last like 5+ years, she has just been in bad project after bad project after bad project, and it is just a bummer. Like, get her back, Denis. Get her in Dune Messiah. There's no reason not to. Come on, you've worked with her before. She's so good in Arrival. And maybe if these are the movies she likes to make, these are what she wants to make, great. But she is a force if she locks in. But I don't see that. I think this movie's just kind of here to get Amy Adams in your room.
Sure, that fits spot. I mean, look, maybe Amy Adams will legit become like Meryl Streep by just having an amazing career in her older years. You know what I mean? Like, just getting a lot more wins, a lot more nominations for like the
a lot
later
of Meryl's
part of her
came.
years.
A lot of Meryl's came at the beginning of her career.
Oh, excuse me, you're right. I'm having them mixed up in my head.
She's just continued to dominate.
Right. You're right. Yeah. I
mean, like The Deer Hunter, Sophie's Choice. Those movies were in the prime.
Yeah, for sure. You're right about that.
The prime with Meryl Streep is just living. Meryl just lives in the prime.
Right.
Moving on. Best performance by an actor in a motion picture musical comedy. Gabrielle LaBelle for Saturday Night. Glenn Powell for Hitman. Hugh Grant for Heretic. Jesse Eisenberg for A Real Pain. Jesse Plemons for Kinds of Kindness. And Sebastian Stan for A Different Man. None of these men have a chance. I think if somebody somehow sneaks in, it's either going to be Jesse Eisenberg or Sebastian Stan for stronger Oscar-style contender films.
Yep.
But all these guys were great. I haven't seen Heretic. It's actually been on my list. I've heard it's really good. But like Saturday Night, Hitman, I loved. Kinds of Kindness was fine. It was fine. But yeah, I don't really have much else. You got anything?
No, I think you're right. Jesse Eisenberg would be, and Sebastian Stan would be the possible entries into the Best Actor category. Glenn Powell and Gabriel LaBelle, I like both of those actors. I'm happy to see them get something.
All the actors, for sure.
Yeah, that's true, too. All these actors are great. So I guess, yeah, nothing else to really add on for this category.
Best performance by a female actor in a supporting role. Ariana Grande for Wicked. Felicity Jones for The Brutalist. Isabel Rossellini for Conclave. Margaret Qualley for The Substance. They had a great bit together at the Golden Globes. It was very funny. Her and Demi Moore, I mean. Selena Gomez, Emily Perez, and Zoe Saldana, Emily Perez. Another round of some of them being nominated just to get people in the room. Selena's not going to be nominated for an Academy Award. Zoe, it seems like, is the one that kind of has momentum. I do think Felicity Jones will get a nomination. I think Ariana will probably get a nomination. But and I actually think Isabel Rossellini will get a nomination. I think all those are very possible. Felicity Jones is a force in The Brutalist. And boy, it takes a while to get her in the dang movie. It's a long film. But when she shows up, I think it changes a lot of how strong the movie ends up becoming. So it feels like momentum-wise, this is Zoe's to lose, but we'll see. Thoughts?
It will be nice to see Felicity Jones again. I haven't seen her in something in a minute, so hopefully I can. Again,
I didn't know she was in The Brutalist, and then she came on screen, and I was like, what an absolute treat. I was like, yes, get more Felicity Jones. And she's been working. It's just been stuff overseas that I just haven't sought out, but
Gotcha.
I'm with you.
Supporting actress, yeah, this could be a very interesting category, because I think you're right. The Selena Gomez aspect of her possibly getting a nomination is probably dying out.
I don't even think it's in contention.
Yeah. Plus, also the Academy Award sometimes has a hard time deciding who to vote on, but For like the same movie, I mean. So it would probably lean towards Zoe Saldana. She just gives a way stronger performance anyway. Margaret
Yeah.
Qualley will be interesting. I'm not too sure if she could, or if she has enough wiggle room to get like an easy nomination. I feel
I
like
think
that's going
she's
to
a
be
dark
tough.
horse. I think she could get in there. I think it's
Yeah.
possible. I think if we see her name on the ballot, it's like, sweet, let's go.
Mhm.
Because
Mhm.
she's half the movie. Well, technically it's just one performance, right? Because they're one. So
They're the same and they're not.
sounds like we're all getting Academy Awards, all right?
Hey, fair enough. Go by substance logic, I guess. Good enough. Yeah, that's about all I have.
Best performance by an actor in a motion picture, supporting role in a motion picture. I guess this one's the drama. This is the drama.
They only do one, I think.
They
for
do.
supporting. Yeah.
Weird. Oh, I guess they do. Weird.
Yeah, can I
Daniel,
ask about that? Is there like a reason why the Globes have always done like musical comedy drama? Did something happen and they like split up categories
I
or
have
something?
no idea. No clue.
Yeah, I would like, if someone knows, comment below.
I think the Globes is a pretty old show. I think it's been happening for a while because the guys who ran it originally, those old guys, probably just wanted attention, and it was probably at a time when musicals were a lot more of a thing and comedies were a lot more of like legit, very, very good films.
No, that's true. Like, it's surprising how many comedies have actually been nominated for an Academy Award.
Yeah. But let's get to it here. Best performance by an actor supporting role: Denzel Washington, Gladiator 2; Edward Norton, A Complete Unknown; Guy Pearce, The Brutalist; Jeremy Strong, The Apprentice; Kieran Culkin, A Real Pain; and Anora Borzov for Anora.
Borisov, yeah.
Oh man, I
He's good.
hope he gets an Oscar nom so much. I really, really do. I want to check real quick if he got one. He did get one for the SAG award. So that makes me happy because that is at least momentum for him to get it. He is so good. Oh man. I think Edward Norton is a lock. I think Guy Pearce is a lock, and I think Kieran Culkin is a lock to get a nom. I think they will all get a nomination. I think Kieran Culkin's got all the momentum to win after this win.
I'm trying to remember the actor of Sing Sing.
Have you seen it?
No, not Sing Sing. But there was an actor who people thought early on the year could easily get a supporting actor nomination, but it's starting to seem unlikely now, which is unfortunate. I believe it's the guy.
Is it Clarence Macklin?
I believe that's who it is, and I believe he plays himself. Basically,
he doesn't have a name underneath on IMDb, so that would make sense if he's playing himself.
Yeah, and I've heard amazing things about him in that performance, so I'm kind of rooting for that because I at least, just based off of not seeing the movie, but I just think the story itself is very interesting.
Gotcha.
And it honestly makes me more curious in the movie itself. So I wonder how much of a chance he has in supporting actor. But I'll agree with you for sure about Kieran and Yura getting those locks in for supporting actor. I wish, again, Austin Butler for Dune would have been awesome.
Should be.
Even I'll throw out a Hailmaker with this one. I honestly think Chris Hemsworth in Furiosa.
Yep, I would agree.
If that movie did a bit better, I don't know. I think it was worthy of a nomination.
I actually think Denzel being in the Globe is fun because I think Denzel's really good in Gladiator 2. It's wild. It's wild that this was the year of having some sequels, some that turned out great, like Gladiator 2, and some that didn't, like Joker 2. And their first movie was like powerhouses at the Academy Awards. I mean, Gladiator sweeped when it first came out. I mean, Joker dominated. And it's just kind of wild, the change here. But all right, let's move on to Best Director here. Brady, it is Brady Corbett for The Brutalist, Coraline Fargette for The Substance. I hope I'm saying that right. Edward Burge for Conclave. Joaquis, not even going to attempt the last name, for Emily Perez. Pela Capaldia for All We Imagine Is Light, and Sean Baker for Anora. Sean Baker sneaking in there's fun.
True.
But not having Denis Villeneuve here is an absolute travesty.
That's what I mean, man. If it's not happening in the Golden Globes, I worry about the
Wow.
Oscars.
Let's see how the Directors Guild nominations turn out first. But
Fair.
I think I think it's a dark horse hope for him at this point. But some of these guys, we don't know how well respected and loved that they are. Having two women in here though is awesome. I haven't seen Emily Perez, but The Substance, oh man, The Substance is so good. For her to get in for the Academy Award, I would just love that. For it, Brady won it. I think sure. I think Brutalist is great. I probably would give it to Denis over him, but or yeah,
Hmm.
thoughts or Sean
Uh,
Baker because he's so good in this.
yeah, I mean, it's just hard to nail down like a 5 for me of who I'd want to see in this category. I mean, as much as it's great to see the Substance director and Sean Baker in this category. I mean, there's just so many movies. George Miller for Furiosa, Robert Eggers for Nosferatu, uh, uh,
Yeah,
the director of Sonic 3, obviously, is just one of those things.
his
Uh,
name is Martin Scorsese. I'm not
Martin
sure you were
Scorsese,
aware. Could
I
you
haven't
imagine
heard of
Martin
him.
Scorsese was like, I got grandkids. Let me go make a grandkid movie, and he did like Sonic 4 or something, and he's like,
He just
let me do that.
he just did it under a pseudonym.
I think it's interesting that Wicked has done pretty well, but John did not get a nom. John, I think, could potentially
point.
sneak in for an Academy Award nomination. I think he could get one.
Yeah.
But
I guess
yeah,
I'll mention it here too. I think I'm not sure how many wins that Honora is really gonna get.
I don't
Honestly,
think it's going to get a
nominations,
lot anyway. It's lost a
yeah,
lot of steam.
unfortunately. But I'm also not surprised at the same time. I felt like a lot of people were surprised by the steam simmering for Honora, but Sean Baker is kind of like that. I mean, he never really was a director for how good his movies are. He doesn't really get like awards recognition, and this is finally like the 1 year that there's enough of a case, but also just enough wiggle room to where they can give him like some nominations more so than his past films. But even still, I just think his subject matter doesn't quite give enough leeway for the voters to want to give anything to him
I
or his
think
movie.
Honora too also just kind of started. I feel like, and I'm maybe that's just from my perspective, but I remember a lot of people talking about it right before I saw it at the festival, and then talking about it very quickly after on the internet, and then a lot of other movies came out, and it.
Mm.
And the official wide release date for it was a month or so later for Honora. And I think it just kind of lost some steam by that point. And maybe that was their issue. They just kind of promoted everything too quickly and just not at the right time. But the movie's so good. But
Maybe. At the same time, you could also think that about The Substance, which came out, in like August or September, and yet we're kind of thinking a bit differently about it, especially with that Demi Moore win. So it's just so
again,
strange
though, I think
how
it shows
pick and choosy things are.
veterans compared to new people. I mean,
It
Mickey
helps.
has been around a bit, but I mean,
Mhm.
this is her first real powerhouse performance we've seen her do. So, where
Sure.
Demi Moore has been around for a long time in Hollywood. But let's kind of rattle real quickly through these last three Golden Globes, and we'll quickly talk about the SAGs before we head out of here.
Yeah, let's do it.
Best screenplay, motion picture, Brady for The Brutalist, um, Coraline for The Substance, Joaquin for Emily, Jesse Eisenberg, Real Pain, Peter for Conclave, and Sean Baker for Honora. I'll tell you right now, Peter won for Conclave. Honora or The Substance are the best scripts out of this bunch. And I don't even think it's close, in my personal
really?
opinion. I haven't seen a Real Pain or Emily Perez, I guess, but do you think Emily Perez
No.
script is phenomenal?
No.
I
That
think the Brutalist script is good too, but a movie like Honora made me cry, made me laugh, made me queasy, made
it's
me
sharp.
nervous.
Yeah.
That is a script that has power behind it. And I think the same with The Substance, less so with Laughter, but I think those are the strongest scripts here.
What about The Brutalist, out of curiosity? Do you think it was a good script, but just the direction was that more meaty?
I think its script is really good, but I do think personally your script kind of struggles a bit. Like if you're gonna like, the movie is a good 45 minutes longer than Nora or The Substance. The Substance, it might be a full hour long. Like, when your movie's so much longer, you have more to work with. You're using more of your original script that you wrote, and I think making a tighter script and a tighter story to squeeze everything into more shows a little bit more strength within a script. But I do think The Brutalist is a very good script. I think Conclave is a very good script. Conclave is just Gossip Girl, though. So, I mean, my boy Pete here. Come on.
I like Conclave. I like the script of Conclave. I like that it's getting a little bit of recognition. The Substance and Anora are probably like the sharpest scripts than Conclave in my opinion. But honestly, at the end of the day, screenplay is kind of the same as director for me currently. Like, yes, some of these nominations are good, but I can easily come up with some other movies I've seen that aren't in this or aren't even going to get close to like Oscar or awards, anything that could also make a case. So it's just hard for me to be picky and choosy when it comes to these. So I think at the very least, Conclave and Nora, Brutalist, and Substance will be like our Oscar screenplay. Those will be like some of the nominations that we'll see. Amelia Perez, I keep saying it. I think it's going to get a lot of nominations.
I think you're right. No, I'm with you. I think it will. Yeah,
I think people
like it's earned.
Yes, I agree. It's just not earned. But just be prepared for that. That's all I'm saying.
I think we can end with the Globes there. Let's quickly jump over to these SAG nominations, and we've talked about them a little bit, but let's just go through a handful of them because there's not as many.
Yeah.
Best performance by an actor in a leading role: Adrian Brody, Timothée Chalamet, Daniel Craig, Dolman Kumingo, and Ray Fiennes. Like Kyle said, these could very well be the 5 for the Academy Award. I do think overall this year is a bit weaker in this category. I think they're all great performances. Haven't seen everything, but I'm going to try my best to if this ends up being it. But any quick thoughts on those?
I stand by what I said.
Fair enough. Outstanding performance by a female actor in a leading role: Pamela Anderson, Cynthia how do you say it again? Erivo, thank you, for Wicked. And I think that nomination shows that she's got momentum to get a nom for the Academy Award. Carla for Emily Perez, that is interesting. Mickey for Anora and Demi Moore for The Substance. I think this is pretty solid. I think you could swap. I think Pamela Anderson should be swapped out. Granted, I haven't seen it. Or Carla for Emily Perez. And I think Ariana Grande should be up in here. I think she's a lead. I think you put her in supporting for not a real reason. She supports through like she does the thing. But like she's in so much of the movie. It's just weird because a supporting actor should not feel like a lead, and I do think she feels like a lead in the movie.
Okay, that's fair. I get the rationale about the Ariana Grande thing. I'm fine with her being in like the supporting position, but I just understand the rationale. I don't really have strong thoughts about it.
And I understand it. I just think it's incorrect.
But that being said, I do think you are making me buy into the Cynthia Erivo possibility a lot more. So between Erivo, Carla, really Mickey, and Demi, those could be our 4, and that 5th spot again is the wild card. But I think Fernanda Torres could be that 5th one still.
I think Cynthia, Mickey, and Demi should be considered pretty much locks for noms. I think they're going to be there. Carla and Pamela, I think, could be swapped out, and I wouldn't be shocked.
Yeah, I think Carla I would swap out with someone else, but that's also not fair because I need to see more movies. But I just wouldn't be shocked to see Carla again. Just the Emilia Perez love from the industry. I just feel like she's also included in it.
So best outstanding performance by an actor in a supporting role: Jonathan Bailey for Wicked, Yoro for Anora, Kieran Culkin for A Real Pain, Edward Norton for A Complete Unknown, and Jeremy Strong for The Apprentice. You were fist pumping your life for Jonathan Bailey over there, my guy.
I like it, man. I like it. I don't think that
he's good. He's good.
I just think he pops off really well. He does what I want to see out of like a supporting role to warrant nominations, to where you show up in the movie and you just have an effect on like everything around you when it comes to a movie. Like you just bring in, like you pay attention, like you want to pay attention when it comes to like a supporting player showing up. And I feel like Bailey does that. I think like just alone his musical number that he has is so much fun to watch. But it's kind of the same way how I felt with, again, Butler or Hemsworth. Like they had that same effect to me.
I'd put
Borisov is
those over
also
him myself.
and that's
I'd
fair.
put
I'm
those
just
guys over
saying
him.
I'm just saying for me, that's my descriptor for like supporting roles and
Gotcha.
like warranting nominations for them. And Bailey is just one that I never expected. Granted, this is Screen Actors Guild. This isn't the Oscars. I don't think he's getting an Oscar.
But this is more impactful than what the Golden Globes would be because these are the actors voting for it. I just wanted to say that to the audience.
No, and you illustrated exactly what I was thinking in my head, so thank you for that. So anyway, that aside, Borisov is also that guy for me that you just want to pay attention to when he's on screen, especially in Anora. Kieran Culkin, I think just what we were saying, it's a lock. Edward Norton, I'm going to buy into that he will get a nomination. Jeremy Strong is an interesting one, though, for The Apprentice. It's the same thing where between the subject matter about Donald Trump and The Apprentice just being such a smaller movie compared to most of the other ones that we're seeing, I just don't know how much of a chance he has, but his name does keep popping up.
It is Hollywood, though, and these movies that are, Hollywood tends to be very left, and they could be like let's go with those type of movies just to kind of make fun of him and whatnot. But
could be that.
Outstanding performance by a female actor in a supporting role. Monica Barrero for A Complete Unknown. Love that as Joan. She, I think, steals the show. She's so freaking good.
Okay.
Jamie Lee Curtis for Annette is a very interesting pick. Danielle Deadweiler for the piano. Deadweiler for The Piano Lesson. First time hearing of this film. Ariana Grande for Wicked and Zoe Saldana for Emily Perez. This feels like just a strange, interesting category, and it feels to me like Ariana and Zoe are kind of the confirmed locks because the other three aren't in some other awards. We'll have to see when more awards come out before the Oscars, but in terms to get a nomination, but I would love Monica to receive a nom. She, I think, absolutely deserves one. She's very, very good in the movie.
That is like the strongest thing that I hear about when it comes to A Complete Unknown. Obviously I hear like Timothy's very good in the movie, but I just hear so many things about Barbara's portrayal of Joan.
She's great.
That I know that we weren't mentioning her name when it came to the Golden Globes, but I do wonder if there could be something out of her getting a supporting role nomination. Like, again, it's just a vibes thing, and I still need to see this movie, but I don't know. I feel like she could have a stronger case compared to the rest of this category because this category for this award show is like the most wild card of them all that I've seen. Like, I really don't think Jamie Lee Curtis is going to get anything. I really don't think Danielle Deadweiler is going to have a shot. Well, maybe more of a shot. I'll back off on that. More of a shot than Curtis.
Every year, there's always one award that somebody you're like, okay. Like, you're like, what movie? Haven't heard about it. And you've been following the award cycles and you're like, all right.
No, that's fair.
But I do think those are the ones that could be swapped out as well.
And just real quick, I believe The Piano Lesson is on Netflix. I think one of Denzel's kids directed the movie, and it stars John David Washington as well. Oh, if I remember my movie correctly.
Interesting. It looks like that is what it is.
Yeah. And Deadweiler is a terrific actress, so I'm assuming that she warrants a
nomination. Directed by Malcolm Washington.
Yes. Yeah. Okay. So that is the one.
Interesting. Mm-hmm. And it was written by him as well. That's cool. I might check that out. I haven't heard about it, but real quick, I'll go quickly through the outstanding performances by a cast in a motion picture because I think that can reflect some of what the best pictures might be in contention.
Okay.
A Complete Unknown, Anora, Conclave, Emily Perez, Wicked are the five, and I think that makes sense. I think all those are probably going to be in a best picture spot. But why'd you,
Again, just the Dune thing. I would have thrown Dune in here.
Yeah, no, Dune belongs everywhere.
Yeah.
They have an outstanding action performance by a stunt ensemble in a motion picture. Why on earth has the Academy not copied that yet?
I don't know.
They have
don't
Deadpool,
know.
Wolverine, Doom Part 2, The Fall Guy, Gladiator 2, and Wicked. I think all of those deserve noms, and I would give it to literally any of them. Just to get some stuntman some recognition.
It's Dune.
Yeah,
The Fall Guy wishes it could get this win, but it's Dune.
Yeah. When I think of in terms of stunts, too, I don't remember a lot of insane stunts necessarily other than flying around for Wicked. Gladiator has a lot of stunts. I think Gladiator could win that award. I mean, Gladiator, you're talking all these extras who are jumping off boats and they're flying, they're getting stabbed, and they're, fighting sharks and all this stuff.
I have one movie off my head that could make, well, actually two. I think Furiosa and Monkey Man could have.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Definitely. I think those could be in there. But
there was some good, like, action movies. Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes too. Like, it's not like so much of an action movie necessarily, but even that has some good stunt work in it. Like,
try doing a stunt in a leotard with dots all over you and a camera connected to your head. All right,
yeah,
pal?
no.
Why don't we try to do some stunts there? Okay. Tom Cruise is just licking his lips waiting for them, the Oscars, to add it. And it's just going to be, he's going to come out with 5 movies that year, and he's going to be nominated for every single one of them.
Yeah.
But, all right, guys. Go ahead.
I just don't know if we would categorize like 2024 in movies as like the flashiest of years, but even still, like there were some good pops throughout the year to where we're talking about like this stunt ensemble category having like 7 or 8, 9 possibilities. I don't know. It's just interesting.
When I flew across the country, I was talking with some friends of ours about this year, and they were asking me if I thought it was a weak year compared to other years. And I do not necessarily think I do think it's a weaker year, but I think there's not been a movie to rally behind. Some years have movies that you rally behind, and there's an Everything Everywhere All at Once, or like last year there was a lot of powerhouses, but it seemed like a lot of people rallied behind whatever movie Kyle had to remind me of that Sandra's in a minute ago. What's the title of it? I know the film. I just can't think of the title.
That who is in it?
Sandra Hüller.
Oh, Anatomy of a Fall.
Anatomy of a Fall, I think, got a lot of momentum late, and people really rallied behind it. And I don't know if that necessarily this year has that, so it feels weaker. But in terms of, like, this has been a banger year. Like, people aren't going to all these horror movies and all these things. Like, we might see The Substance get some nominations here. Yeah. Like, that's incredible. But anyway.
I'll say, can I say one more thing real quick?
Yeah.
I get, like, right away why people would think that, but I remember feeling that way about, like, 2017 many years ago. And now that we did that reflection of, like, our top films of the year and, like, going through them, and 2017 was actually a lot deeper than I gave it credit for, if that's the year that I'm remembering correctly. So sometimes it just takes years to like reflect on what we had compared to like reflecting on it in the moment. So I don't know. I don't really have an answer for it. I understand people's rationale of it, but just give it a few years, you know?
And I think when there's not a clear movie that it feels like everybody freaking loves that's going to get a ton of noms, like in Everything Everywhere All at Once, it's like, oh, this year's weak because, there's 7 movies I really like compared to 1 movie I'm in love with. But
for
all
sure.
right, guys, what did you think of everything we said? Comment below, let us know. I'm going to like, subscribe, and share. Thank you, Movie patrons. And as always, thanks for watching, Mom.
See you guys.